Yeah. Yeah. Here we are, face to face. A couple of silver spoons. Um, yeah. What are we going to talk about today? I do have one. Well, it's not really all that exciting, but give it some time. Give it some time for, you know, our friend Al, Algorithm, to find you. Oh, this is starting out great. Starting out great. I'm just going to have some breakfast. Mm-hmm. This is truly what the people are here for. Breakfast. I'd like more. What if I just didn't say anything? I mean, nobody's going to watch this anyway, but it's fine. You know what? This is some fun perspective. Because, like, damn it. That guitar looks very large. And that guitar looks very, very small. It looks like it's this big. Because perspective. It's good to have perspective. Sure. Sure it is. Let's at least start with some actual real stuff. And then hopefully, number one, some people will watch. Number two, maybe those watching people will interact. Maybe ask some questions. Maybe we'll talk about some stuff. Maybe not. Nobody knows. It's right now, it's one of life's unknowable mysteries. And that's fun. So, what do we do this week? Mostly CNC machining. This week and last week was mostly machining. Gaz, good morning. How are you? Yeah, the past couple weeks, I got new coasters. These are fun. And I don't know, maybe we'll throw them in. Well, we will throw them in with when people buy guitars. Mostly CNC machining and focusing on necks because we've got some necks to make. And one of the things that I wish could be done faster, but like it just takes a while, is the neck machining process. Just marinate on that for a minute. Because like, I've got this fixture on the table. It's got a spot where we make neck blanks. It's got a spot where, the fretboards go. That's why it's a neck fixture. And fretboards, like machining like the blanks, it doesn't take super long time. What does take a long time is just making fretboards. And some of it, I think, is, we're using for certain operations like fret slots or cleanup of inlay pockets. We're using a very, 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 very small bit. And those very, 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 very small bits can only travel at a certain, inches per minute. That's making a perimeter on a hollow block inlay. And then now that pocket's done. But yeah, it takes a long time. Longer than I would like. So how do we fix that? Well, I don't know that we really can right now, because as far as I can tell, we're running all of these programs at the optimal speed for the machine. That's the thing, for the machine. Now, our machine is a good, it's a quality machine. But, you know, there are different, price points for things. On one end here, you've got like your X carves, or other smaller kind of like entry level machines, which are probably in the 2,000 to 4,000 range, maybe. It's been a while since I've looked at those. And then, all the way on the other side, you've got, something like a Haas machine, like what Grover has, and that's, those are very expensive, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, maybe even more, probably even more. Doesn't matter to me. It could be $1 million. Doesn't change the fact that I don't own a car. Wait a minute, no. Doesn't matter how much they cost. I'm not buying one right now. And the one that I have is I've got this Laguna machine that was their entry level platform. It was an upgraded version of their entry level machine, and I got that in 2019. And I think all in was like 12,500. That was a big bite. Which for a CNC, for a quality machine, I think it's pretty affordable. I would like the next step up, but so when Adam and I were running, fretboards this week, I got this stuck in my brain where I'm like, we really could use a second machine, because it would be nice if we had, and unfortunately, so like what I thought would be good was like, maybe if I could get the Laguna, the version of the machine that I have. So the machine that I have has a longer bed, because I'm tall, and it's got a longer bed, and it's got like a taller gantry height, which means you can put thicker stock on it, because the gantry can raise up, the machine can, so you can higher levels. But the stock version, instead of, so mine has a 2x4, 2 feet wide, 4 feet long work bed, and the base version of the machine that I have is 2x3, and that would be really good for that can just be like making necks and fretboards, probably just fretboards, maybe. I don't know. I mean, you could make bodies on there, for sure, but you see where I'm getting at. Like, one thing could be set up just for necks or bodies. The other one is running the opposite, because that would just be that'd be really good. We could get more machining done. Obviously, if we've got two machines. The thing you run into, or at least in my head, is, there are a bunch of different machines out there. They don't all run the same stuff. The machines can be controlled in different ways. And what I would like is to not have to redo a whole bunch of programming for a for a machine that runs things different from what I've got already. And so that was my thought, where I'm kind of like, let's just see. Let's see if Laguna still sells it. They don't. And so like they've moved forward to the point where their entry level machine is the one that I have, but it's got an automatic tool changer, which is nice. And it also has a vacuum table, which I really, really, really wish I had a vacuum table. And like, so that's, the price has gone up a little teeny tiny bit since I bought my machine, but like, I think that one would start at like 15, which, considering what's gone on with pricing over the last few years, and considering some of the upgrades that have been put into this machine, I think that's pretty decent. But the thing that would be nice is that if I had both machines run the same exact way. So like, and basically what it is like, I do all the programming on the computer. The toolpaths are just exported into text files. That goes on a USB stick. The USB stick plugs into this little controller. It's a little handheld, a pendant, if you will. And that controls the machine. I don't need a separate computer to run the machine. There's not like another program that I have to use. So that's another thing, is like some machines will have, you do your CAD and your tool pathing, and then some machines are run by a computer, and you kind of you control the CNC with that. And I understand that gives you a little bit more flexibility, but because I've been using this particular machine for just about 5 years, I just don't want to, start all over. You know what I mean? So, all right, this is all right, my kind of conversation, but that's good. Oh, hey, Joe, good morning to Detroit, to you and to Detroit, to be fair. Travis, good morning from the Emerald City. Like Wizard of Oz? No, that's Seattle, right? Seattle? Back to the slopes. We'll have to listen on the way home. Well, okay, Mr. Fancy. Yeah, so like, so I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, it's machining week. We're gonna make, blah blah blah. But like, so the thing is, like, with the fretboards and the way that we make them, doing them in a manner that minimizes unnecessary handwork. And so that means that you're gonna, it's gonna take a little bit longer for the machine to, do the radius, because like, so, we've got to imagine, if you will, a fretboard blank, rectangular, flat piece, and it's on the machine, and this bit is going lengthwise, and it's cutting the radius into the fretboard. And you can do this a bunch of different ways. You can, you do like, make one pass, and then the bit kind of moves over, and this space in how much the bit moves over will then determine how much work afterward you have to do to clean up the cutter marks and to get where you finally want to be. So for a fretboard, there's a step over. You want your step over, at least I do, to be small, so you have a lot of little, that's the sound it makes too. If only it were that quiet. So I've got this step over, it's 30 thousandths. so going back and forth and back and forth. And like, so this machine only wants you to run. This is getting, I don't know how deep this is really. I'm sure you're all following this. We're following, but we're bored. This particular machine does, the manufacturer standards say don't run it over 100 inches per minute. Now that might seem like a lot, like driving 100 miles an hour. But 100 inches per minute, we could go faster, and like I know we used to, but then I kind of learned that maybe it's not a great thing. There are other times when, like doing neck shapes, where the it's going like this. So instead of going lengthwise down a neck shaft, we go side to side. And if you're running like mahogany or black limba, that stuff machines really easily. So you could run it faster and it's not gonna cause as much of a problem. Something like roasted maple or like rock maple. It's called rock maple because it's really hard. Running the bit in rock maple, it's going to work a little harder. It's going to be a little noisier. It's going to be, so you might want to do that a little bit slower. But the thing, we used to do mahogany necks like 150 inches per minute, maybe even 200, which, it would get the shaping down probably in about 20 minutes for a back shape of a neck. And, talking with the folks at Laguna, they're like, you probably, we don't want you to run that thing more than 100 inches per minute, especially on an operation like a neck back shape where it's doing, this kind of motion. The cutter's going like this, just making like the neck. So I'm sorry, what I'm doing is the neck is face down. We're cutting the back shape and it's making, this, making the neck profile. And if we're doing, again, remembering how how much or how little handwork we want to do when it's done, will determine how much of a step over we want, how much we want the tool to like advance and do the next part in advance and do the next part in advance. So again, you want to have that step over, or at least I do, as little as possible. And like I could make, so we're at 30 thousandths. Like, could I do it at 10 thousandths? Sure. But like saving that 20 thousandths, it's going to add a whole ton more time. And like, it's not really going to make much of a difference. So you kind of get to this point where it's like, yes, we could have it cut finer and finer and finer, but then it's going to take longer. So like, do you want to do less work afterward, or do you want to just sit and let the thing do its work, or do you want to kind of make that compromise? So anyway, things like neck back shapes, carved tops on Trellas, and the radius tops on Concords, Revos, and 625s. Those are all applications. It's a 3D application where it's, it's a long process. And, Adam can, runs the machine. But I'm like, if we had two machines, I think we'd be getting somewhere. I do. And so like, yeah, so now I've got that stuck in my head, and I mean, I can't afford another machine right now. Otherwise I would do that. And then I'm like, well, I saw that there's, somebody selling a Laguna machine that's close to me secondhand, which, I know a lot of people buy secondhand machines. You can save a lot of money that way. It is, for me right now, it is one of those things, with the CNC, like I can run the thing. I'm not, I'm not prepared to troubleshoot issues. You know what I mean? So like, I would rather have something like new. Irregardless. The budget just isn't there for it right now. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, you could do like a Kickstarter. You did one of those like 9 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I could. Anyway, so that's something that I realized this week, that a second machine, that'd be really good. That would be really, really good. Yeah, it really would. So, yeah. On the other hand, a lot of things would be really, really good. So, if anybody out there wants to contribute to a CNC machine, that'd be great. Yeah, so that was my thing, because like, we make fretboards. I've got the fixture set up, so we're doing 4 at a time. The previous fixture was 6, and while it's nice, that takes a really long time, specifically on the parts that take the longest. Your fretboard radius, I think it's about 15 to 20 minutes per fretboard. And this is where people with CNC experience will go, oh, well, you can get that done in like 9 minutes. You got to do this and tweak that and blah. No, for my machine, this is it. Oh, you got a crap machine. I don't. It's not but as I think of like, when I've been at Grover Shop, running fretboards takes a while. I mean, granted, anyway, it's one of those things that takes a while. Also, fret slots, we do cut them on the CNC, and yes, we could cut them on a table saw, using a fixture and all that stuff, and we could cut them much faster, without a doubt. But I don't want to do it. It's truly as simple as that. I want to just have the thing on the table, do all of that, and then be done with it. And because then there's the thing of like, if we did all of the machining except for the fret slots, okay, what order would we have to do that? And I know we're taking something off the table and putting it back on the table. You want to minimize that as much as possible too, because while we have pins in the backs of the fretboards that go into locator holes on the table, yes, it's going in the same spot, but on a very fine detail level, it may or may not be going in the same exact spot. And when I say the same exact spot, we're talking, thousands and thousands and thousands of inches, things that would be like negligible, but it's a thing. So you want to just have this thing on the table. Don't take it off unless you have to. So we cut the fret slots on the CNC. And then the other thing too is that the fret slots also follow the radius of the fretboard, which help minimize unnecessary handwork later. Because the way that we used to do it was the fretboards would be straight across, and that's fine until you put a radius in that piece. Specifically, like from about like frets 13 to 24, the very ends of your fret slots, because of the radius and the taper of your fretboard and the radius, your fret slots on the ends are going to be more shallow. Well, they were the same first. Yes, but you removed less material on the top. So if you do your fret slots to follow the radius, you have a more consistent depth across the entire slot. So the bit that I use for fret slots is the 23,000 D string. And so it's really thin, really fine bit, super easy to break. Like when you do the wrenches to loosen the bit, you have to kind of, I kind of one wrench, and then you go, to open it up. And I have to hold, like, my finger will like kind of hold the bit in place because so many times it has happened where I open it up and it's too loose, and then the bit just falls to the table, and it does what? Breaks. So uh, you know, it's very delicate, and to cut one fret slot, it's taking really, really shallow passes. And I might be able to do it in do a slot in a few less passes than I currently do, because I think it runs 9 backs and forths. And I probably could shave it down a little bit, but for right now, I'm just going to leave it, because it's like, I know that right now at this particular feed and speed rate, or speed and feed rate, that's the words we're looking for. I can run the bit in a multitude of materials and not break the bit. Because that's another thing that sucks, is like if you're doing like 6 fretboards at once, and you just have it all of those fret slots in one tool path, and you say, run the fret slot, I'm going to go over here and reconsider my life choices. It might get through the first one okay, second one okay, might break on the third one, and like, oh fuck, now I gotta do individual third, fourth, and so that's another thing that I did when this year we made some new fixtures, trying to simplify some things, and the process of making fretboards, I'm doing my best to streamline it, because like, when we're making a batch of fretboards, is this interesting? No, it is not. When we're making a batch of fretboards, oftentimes the fretboards in those batch, like we're not making like 6, or in this case 4 now, of the same exact fretboard all the time. Well, why not? Because sometimes I got to do a 22 fret. I got to do a 24 fret. I need a short scale. I need to make a bass fretboard. So we would do all of those things at once. And what I used to do on applications such as fret slots or inlays is I would kind of make this tool path for like, today's inlay in fret slots is this combination of fret slots and inlays. So like, I would be on the computer, like, okay, so these hollow blocks, and then these are slashes, and then this has no inlays, and stuff that you see. And that would go all into one. And that's dumb, because that means that I'm going to have to always do it that way. So these past 2 weeks, I've changed it. So we have, when we're navigating to the tool paths, we're going to do inlays. Okay, so here's a hollow blocks folder. And in that folder, there's hollow blocks patterns for individual ones. You can do all 4 at once if you're going to run 4 identical, which does happen from time to time, but not all the time. But then we've got tool paths for Bay 1, Bay 2, Bay 3, and Bay 4. So if you have to run individuals, there you go. It's already in the folder. You just have to navigate to it. So that worked out pretty well. And I was really happy about that, because that means that I won't have to continually make a specific tool path for the fretboards that we're going to run that day. So happy about that. In the beginning of a year, dude, it's almost March. We often, as people, we like to, I'm going to get organized. We're going to do these things. And so, to this point, I had for the machine, we have like notebooks, and what I would do is I'd say, okay, so Adam, like if Adam's going to run, and I would do this for myself too, because like, while yes, I could make a batch of tool paths to make a body, let's say, and I know my particular numbering system, I start with the smallest bit and then go to the highest bit, and then, we flip, and then, whatever. But that works for just that moment. And if I have to make, let's say a 71 body, if I make those those tool paths, and then I just run the thing based off of memory because of like these are the steps that I know that need to happen. I've got a tool path naming convention that tells you the bit to use, and I know what order to go in, as I mentioned. That's all fine and good, but like if I needed to tweak something or if I need to make that thing again, maybe like a week later, I'm gonna forget. So, and I didn't think that I would. You do. So we write these things down, and so I've got these notebooks that are just filled with like, here's what we're running today, and it's these tool paths, and that's all fine and good. But like, what would be really good is if we could have a standardized thing. So if I say to Adam, I need you to make two 624 bodies. I want to have those things in like a binder that's printed out, and then he can go and these fretboards was the first example of doing exactly that. So we bought little 3-ring binders, and I got a hole punch and like little sheet protectors and tabs, and it was all very Amy Santiago, but it's fun. And so I liked that. That was good. That was so there's in this process these past couple weeks, we've done some things. So we got a little bit more organized. We took some steps towards better organization. That's great. We made the realization that I got to figure out how to get another machine. And within that decision, it's like, yeah, I gotta keep it within the brand, within that style of controller, which is going to be limiting. But funds for that sort of thing aren't here right now, so it's not really anything that I have to do today. But like, I really wish there was a way I could figure that out. Because like, even if I got a new machine, it's going to take some time to get it. It's going to take some time to like get it installed into the shop and, you know, all of that, and then kind of get all that going. So it's not like I could order it on Amazon and then I'm using it the next day. So, you know, it's okay. But yeah, that is kind of one of those things where it would be a really, really bitchin' if I could do that. Or, you know, even if I don't get, it'd be nice to get like the next step up machine, and then my current one would be used for one task. But like, again, it's got to be like the same control. You know what I'm talking about. I've talked way too long about all of this stuff, but that's kind of been this week. And you know, the other thing, it's like, in some of this, creating all these new tool paths and this like organizational file system and stuff like that, invariably I have cutting and pasting, or I'll, you know, you can copy tool paths and duplicate them and like, you know, tweak them as you need. Invariably, I have some copy paste errors, and we wind up ruining a couple of fretboards because I copy and pasted the wrong thing, or, you know, something like that. So our yield of fretboards was smaller than what I wanted to make. Only by 2 though. So like, I mean, that's not great, but that's okay. So, but like when we do make these fretboards, it's not like we're spending a week making, and it's not like necessarily a week, but like we're spending multiple days making fretboards. It's not like at the end of the week I have 30 fretboards. It's like a lot fewer. So, yeah, it is one of those things where like having another machine, dude, we fucking get it. Sorry. So there's that. What else? We had a pretty good February. I'm actually sad that it's ending because it's been a good month business wise, and I think this time of year each year is usually pretty good, and I think that, beginning of the year, I think NAM happens, and regardless of how successful NAM is, I think it's like it kind of, the fact that it's there, and every single company is sending press releases to, here's our new stuff, and hey, we've got we're being innovative, we've got a new color, it's red. Um, as Henning made a joke about that when we were chatting at the show, and he's like, "Oh, it's always the same old thing. Even when someone says it's, we're doing, do you see what Fender's doing? They've got a new red." Anyway, it's fine. It's just how the business is. But I think that sort of event, it kind of gets the community. I could be totally wrong, but it seems like it gets the musical instrument buying community kind of chums the water, so to speak. So February is usually a pretty groovy month. March and April is we run out of road often. So I'm hoping that trend doesn't continue, but we'll see what we can do. I've got some stuff coming back from paint this week, so that means we're going to finish some guitars. We've got a pretty, let's see. There's another Neck Through Raven that should be coming back to me Tuesday or Wednesday. Got a Revolution that's coming back. I've got some guitars that are in the assembly process right now. Yeah, that's good. Spraying some clear coating some headstocks. Making a guitar for Andy. He's got another Stardust coming, but that particular guitar has a few things that I've wanted to try, and didn't really, have a reason to try them until I'm like, oh, let's make this guitar. Let's get this for Andy. And so it's a Stardust that will have a 622 style neck on it. And I think I've talked about this before. That's something that I've wanted to try because I have a feeling. Well, I think it'll look cool. And then that particular neck has an inlaid logo. What? Yeah. It's a test. So it was a successful test. I don't know if it's as wild. Like, I don't love it enough. I don't love how it came out enough for. We need some further things because, so the Sully logo, it's thin. Like, those are real thin lines, and basically what we did was, much like an inlay on a fretboard, you cut out the pocket of the Sully pocket, so to speak, which is Polly Pocket's shady nephew. And then we've got what's the logo going to be made of? What is the material? So it makes the most sense for us to use acrylic because we can laser that. And the thing that we run into is we use 1/8 inch acrylic stock. And so this laser is cutting through, and the laser, I don't think we have the greatest, we're not using the laser as well as we could. Because I think just, there's just so much other stuff and that we have to focus on. And it's just like, we can get it to do what we need it to do. But one of the things we run into is if you try and cut, it won't cut through completely in one pass. You can make it powerful. You can change the power settings to where it will, but what you wind up getting from that, what your yield from that is poor quality, because like the laser is going to be super, super, super powerful, cutting this acrylic out, but it's also going to be like melting the acrylic. So like it's not, anyway. So we kind of ran into that a little bit. But it was a black acrylic, and then we glue it in with black super glue. So I mean, it works, but it's further. It needs further further development. That's the word I'm looking for. So I forgot why I got on this topic. Oh, but shit, what made me think of that? I don't know. Okay. It'll be a cool guitar. I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to be. Oh, we have, so John is checking it. Sounds like there's a lot of process discovery. Yeah, surely other makers have figured these things out. Is there no Luthier specific training for these sorts of things, or are they trade secrets, or are you just cutting edge technology and process wise? There is a lot of process discovery. Surely other makers have figured these things out. Yes, I will absolutely say that. One of the things that this falls into is even if you just take the CNC out of it, and this is a good point. We all make guitars different. We just do, and I'm speaking from a process kind of standpoint, because like I'll use me for an example, because that's obviously I have the most authority on myself. I am the boss of me. I came into this with zero woodworking experience. Seventh grade woodshop does not count. And so I had to I wasn't going to go to woodworking school or something like that, or I wasn't going to, jump into that. So what are the things that I can do that will get me to that point? And you saw a lot of that on the old Sully's Guitar Garage videos, which will be making a return in some format. And for me, that was using a bandsaw, a small jointer, a drill press, and a couple of routers. There are absolutely tasks that could have been made more simple by using certain hand tools like chisels. And chisels themselves are not particularly hard to use. But this, when I'm like, oh, you could just clean that up with a chisel, I'm like, that means I'm going to have to sharpen chisels, build my proficiency in using them, and all this other stuff. I'm like, if I can achieve this with making some templates and routing things the way that I want them, then that's something that I'm already doing, and it's not adding another thing. Well, you're adding another skill set to your toolbox. I know, but again, I'm not going to. I got to make the thing. I gotta do what I can. I got to use what I have and do my best, right? So along with that, there are a million different ways to use that. So there are a million different ways to machine things. And that involves not just the machining process, but like, how are you fixturing it? How are you holding the piece down? If you look on, watch reels on Instagram of guitars that are being made, even if it's just like on a CNC, you will see no one has the same fixtures. It's because we're all kind of like, well, this makes sense how I would do it. Is there no Luthier specific training for these sorts of things? There is and there isn't. So of course there are schools that you can go to. That wasn't an option for me. And like my buddy Tom Dahlia, he does classes over Zoom for these things, and he does a great job. Super good dude. And there might be a time, because I know he uses a lot of vacuum fixturing, and so I know that there are ways that you can make your own vacuum. And there may be a time in the future when I reach out to him to kind of consult on that sort of thing. Doing so is going to require completely changing how we are fixturing things and how we're holding the material. Well, isn't that what you wanted to do? Yes. Well, so is this a bad thing? No. So what's the problem? Fact is, I can't adapt to it right away, because what we'll have to do is change all of our fixturing, probably change some programming, although there would be ways that, like, so using this fretboard fixture that I've been talking about as an example, I can use the same like footprint and layout and all that stuff, but it seems like maybe we could just kind of keep that as it is. And I'm kind of talking through some of this, so work with me. We could kind of keep that fixture, but maybe convert that fixture to, like, we can make it out of a different material and then put some vacuum inlets and stuff like that. So, like, in theory, we should be able to just kind of swap that over. But the other thing is, all of this is everything is a question of time and money, and sometimes a combination. And so if we're going to do that, if we're going to invest that time into this particular thing, where are we taking that time from? And for now, it's running the business. So, I have taken actually Tom's class about Rhino, and that was, a weekend thing, and that was, it's fine, it's a good time. And, one of the other things that I have been doing over the past year is I've been working with somebody who's been helping with improving the modeling and the making of the things. We've been working together like pretty much like almost every 2 weeks for a year, and so that's been going pretty well. And we're not at the point where I'm kind of like running out of things to talk about or to have them consult with me on. But the nice thing is that things that we had been speaking about are things that are in process and things that I've been able to put into place. So, like, we've made those improvements, which is great. Trade secrets. There are those things. I usually don't associate with I don't, the people in my circle are not necessarily trade secret-y people. Or are you just cutting edge technology and process wise? No, I'm not. But I hope that kind of answers that. Oh, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen for a few reasons. But it was a fun idea. Good morning. Let's see. Whew, that was a whole lot of machiney stuff. Also, continuing my one of the things I've been considering post NAM is alternate materials. I still have to I gotta reach out to the people about the obsidian ebony. You guys were all here for the obsidian ebony thing, right? That's an ebony substitute. I talked about it at length a couple of these streams ago, where it's basically it's roasted maple, and then there's this resin that is impregnated into the process, and it winds up coming out black. And so I still have to get some to try it out. Made in the fretboards that we're making this past week, making some more with the Royal Blackwood, and I like the Royal Blackwood. So I'm interested to see the obsidian ebony and see how that cuts. Although I do have a sample right over there that I probably could like cut some pockets into, and see. But I need to get that, and then swamp ash. Hard to get, generally speaking. It's expensive, um, which is fine. You just reflect that in the final cost. Um, but the thing that I've run into, not firsthand on my own stuff, but three of my friends in the industry have had this problem on more than one guitar. So it makes me a little apprehensive to use it. Now I've got, because sorry, and this problem is the emerald ash, or it's the ash borer beetle. Basically just eats through the shit. Now, even so, you don't know if you've got it in there until you see these little holes, and they will eat through finished guitars. Specifically, like eat through painted, completed guitars. And so this has happened to friends that were in different parts of the world. Their lumber comes from different parts of the world. And we're still having this issue in that, the guitar's done, and maybe a couple of months or so later, you have all of a sudden you've got a hole on the guitar, and it's like, where the hell did this come from? If you let it sit, maybe a couple days later, you might see another hole. And hey, this body looks like Swiss cheese. Then again, this is a painted, completed guitar. And what do? Well, you gotta make a new one. So, the swamp ash that I've got is stuff that has sat. I know that I've had it for over a year. But anyway, so I am a little reluctant to continue. I'm more than a little reluctant to continue using it. I still will, but I'm like, fingers crossed. But so I'm trying to find something that might be similar. And there's something, I remember there's this stuff called Polonia, and it's been out in guitar building for a little while. And I think Anderson uses it. Maybe Sir uses it. One of the two. It's real lightweight, and it looks similar to swamp ash. I think the grain is similar looking. So I'm interested in trying one out, just to see. Because if that's good, then maybe we'll go with that. Yeah, so those are other things that I've just been kind of thinking about. Oh, hey, Dean. How are you? Getting aboard. Oh, the Obsidian Ebony for a prototype on my end. Interesting stuff. The piece he gave me stunk to high hell, though. I've used it. There's a 625 that has a Palfero neck and fretboard. People... I think it's a decent rosewood alternative. But people don't really like it, by and large. And I think it's the color. I know that as a fretboard, it's a really nice playing surface. It's kind of between ebony and rosewood. It's porous like a rosewood. But yeah, a lot of the colors that you can get it in, people don't seem to like, which, depending on some of the pieces, I'm in that camp. I have actually, I think about it, I've got like a 622 neck and fretboard that's made of Palfero that I never finished, but, yeah. I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing there. Chris likes the Palfero, and I like Chris. Yeah, it does. It's a really nice playing surface. I dig it. What else? So I think that's it, really. Trying to think if I had any other fun developments. No, We should have a couple of guitars finished up this week, this coming week. Yeah, maybe more than a couple. Let's see. We got a Nice Man. We got there's a 7-string Stardust. I think that thing's done. I just need to double check. There's a it's a baritone Raven. There's a 625. There's a the hell else? I know there's something else. Well, and then we're gonna get a couple coming back from Paint this week. So plenty of things to finish. So that's good. Yeah. That's cool. Need to do this little mini conspiracy series run that we've kind of teased out there. Have you tried the Spark portable amp, and what are your thoughts for a compact travel solution? I haven't. I have traveled with guitars. I don't really when I've traveled with guitars, I hadn't really brought amps or anything. But like, I also find that I've really got to get my hand fixed. I've really got to get my hand fixed so I can play a lot more easily. The Spark thing. The Spark is I know some people that have it and love it, say it's great. My buddy Nick has it, and there's like you can take some lessons and through it, and there's you can download tones through it, like from your phone, maybe something like that. I don't know. It seems like if you're looking for a travel thing, it seems like a really good way to go. So like I would say that you've probably made worse decisions. I'd say you've made worse decisions in life. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. Oh yeah, here we go. I have a Spark on my shelf right now. It's a pretty great little practice rig. There you go. Yeah, dude, that's the one. It is. We are going to. I just need to get it in the Plecaroonie. It's wired, strings on it, and all that good shit. So yeah, we're just about done with that. Let's see. 4 surgery in my hand. Yeah, it's. I'm glad that it's better for you, because I remember when you were going through that, and it's just my trigger finger, and I know it's like a super simple thing, and we were gonna have it scheduled, and it just became such a pain in the ass that I'm like, shut it down. Spark 40 and Spark Go. I like the Go. It sounds great for its size, and I like that I can use the same tones for my 40 on the Go. There you go. I do have an interface coming today. That's kind of fun. One of those little Focusrite Scarlett dealies, because this thing has there's some software and like IRs and whatnot. So like there's this cover song that I've wanted to record for years. And there are people that are I've got the drums done. Had someone put together a really nice drum track for it. There's got some acoustic guitar. I think I'm going to ask Adam if he'll do that. I'm going to do the electrics. And then I've got somebody that is agreed to sing on it. But this has been something that I've wanted to do for years, haven't. And I really want to make it happen this year. So I know, like, how difficult is it? Yeah. So yeah. Oh, we're winding down. So this is going to shut off in about 10 seconds. So thanks for watching the CNC ramblings. But I don't know. I don't think I sound like a crazy person, but like,